I told you guys last week I was going on vacation. Here I am, Old Forge, New York. It's one of my favorite places ever. I've been coming here since I was like 5 years old. They got a brewery here that we gotta check out. I just need Cam to be here.
I made the 3-hour drive up to be with my buddy, and we're gonna find out what's on tap at Fulton Chain Craft Brewery. Across the nation, people have turned the hobby of crafting beer into a lifestyle. Amazing breweries are only a few minutes away from your own home.
From nano to regional or micro to macro, the question you won't need to ask is what's on tap. After an adventurous canoe trip around one of the lakes in this area, owners Justin and Rich decided we need to open up a brewery. And in 2015, Fulton Chain Craft Brewery opened their doors.
They started in just a small space here, but since then, Fulton Chain has expanded to take over the entire building, and they have become a real destination here in Old Forge. Let's go check it out.
Fulton Chain. When did this place open up and how did you get started here?
All right, so we opened up in June of 2015. We came up with the idea Memorial Weekend of 2014, kind of. We always joked about opening some sort of alcoholic business together. When we were younger, we joked about opening bars together, all that stuff. And then I started homebrewing in 2002-ish. And just thought it was fun, kept going with it, made shitty beer at first, and then got better and better and better. And like I said, Memorial Weekend of 2014, I convinced Rich that we should open a business and that it should be the brewery. So he did a bunch of research, figured out that the numbers looked good, that it seemed like, it was a good time to get into the industry. They had just introduced the farm brewing license. So there was a lot of opportunity there to get a lot of help from the state, just as far as the ease of the license. And then we talked about various spots as far as, I grew up in Rochester, he grew up in Utica, but Rochester's brewing scene was going insane. There was already 10 or 12 breweries there. I went to school at University at Buffalo, and there was already 8 or 10 breweries in Buffalo. And oddly enough, Utica, we were like, well, we don't want to open next to FX Matt, because they're just already so big that it felt weird trying to open a microbrewery next to them. Yeah. And we always loved the Adirondacks, so we're like, all right, well, Old Forge is the perfect place. Like Lake Placid had one, Tupper Lake had one, and we were like, there's not one in Old Forge, so it seems like the perfect opportunity for us to be the ones to open it and for Old Forge to be the place.
So you say, you give a little bit of why Old Forge. Have you been coming here your life? And
Yep, so when I was 10 months old, I started camping at Racket Lake with my parents.
You remember when you were 10?
I don't remember the first few times. But we just, every year we would go for 2 or 3 weeks and camp at Golden Beach. And in 1998, I met Rich while camping. And so his friends thought that my cousin was cute and they wanted to party with her. I was 16 at the time, Rich was 18 at the time, and I think my cousin was probably, she would have been 16 also. And so they were like, oh, we should all party together. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna let my cousin go party with a bunch of guys that I don't know, so I tagged along, but then we became friends. And so every year we would see each other camping over and over and over, and we just became friends over camping. And then, like I said, we just joked around about opening some sort of business together, and finally in 2015, we made it real.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense with the atmosphere that you got going on here. I love, like I said, I've never been here, even this area, but the Adirondack chairs, you got the canoe. It's just I feel like it really encompasses this area. It's just a really cool vibe in here though. Just come in and relax.
Exactly.
Even the bar chairs. I've never seen Adirondack style bar chairs.
I told them,
before.
I'm like, we can see the chairs. I'm like, this is an Adirondack brewery.
I want to get a house that has a bar just so I can get a couple of those to put in there.
So this is a new expansion, this section, right? And I see you already got the tanks in here, and I mean, the floor must have been knocked out because this used to be a restaurant on this side. So, how'd that come about that you're like, you know what, whole building's mine?
So we've always kind of had the idea that we're always in expansion mode. Whether we're actually doing something or just thinking about something, we're just always like, all right, what's the next step to get our beer into more people's hands? So we started originally with a 2-barrel system, Then we upgraded to a 7-barrel system, and there used to be a wall that separated these two sections, and so there was a restaurant in here. The guy packed up, left town, he was over it, had enough. And our landlord was like, oh, I heard that you're looking to expand the brewery. She's like, well, I'll rent you the space next door if you want to expand into there. And I was like, all right. I was like, but it's a pretty big deal. I was like, I'm gonna tear down walls and, rip out your floor and, put a garage door in the outside. And she agreed to it, so we signed a lease. Well, that was January of this year.
Yeah.
Yep, so in January.
It happened really quickly then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
And it looks amazing.
Thank you. We got the keys in January, and St. Patty's Day weekend, when the shutdown came, we tore the wall out, separated into two places that weekend, and just went full speed ahead from there. 5 days before we got the permission to reopen, we finished this place up.
So the shutdown actually helped a lot as far as
In a
getting ready to
weird
go.
way.
Yeah.
Yep. It wasn't what we expected. It wasn't how we wanted to do it, but it gave us the opportunity to spend 100% of our time focused on the expansion.
What is next then for Fulton Chain?
Well, the next thing is, as much packaged stuff as possible. I want to have all of our beers in 16-ounce cans ready to go. That'll take a little while, but Fluff is obviously the first one that's going into cans for 16s. The label's already designed. It's ready. It's just once this stuff is full, we'll start pumping out cans. It's probably gonna be a good fall project for me, is getting the canner running.
I'm curious too, we talked a little bit about the vibe, the atmosphere in here. With this being such a touristy town, do you get a lot of new faces, or you still have your local, tried and true, same people that are always coming in?
In the summer, we get a ton of new faces. I'd say 15-20% of the people we recognize, the rest of them are new people every year. We get a consistent local base, so we see the people all year round. And then in the winter, you see a lot of the same people over and over because they'll rent a camp for the whole winter. So it's like they'll come up, they'll get in camp, they'll ride the snowmobile around, stop in here, have a beer, get lunch, go for another ride. And then we got a lot of people that stay really close here, so we'll be the last stop they'll hit.
What challenges does that bring for you guys for this being, so then if it's 15-20% people you always see, that's a good 80% that is new people coming through. And a lot of breweries that we've talked to, it's feedback they're getting from the people that are coming in. And given that you're seeing new faces all the time and this being such a touristy town.
The funny thing is a lot of our beer is always a new beer to every customer that comes in because they're brand new here. So I rock a lot of the same beers throughout the year because we have beers that we know they do well. But to the customer, it's a new beer to them. They haven't drank, my IPA 30 times. They haven't drank, Go Fluff Yourself 100 times because it's their first time here. So it's all new to them. So we're kind of the opposite of a lot of breweries in that we spend a decent amount of time bringing the same beers back out because we know they do so well. And then we'll throw new beers in here and there just for fun or just for seasonal stuff.
How often are you guys doing new beers?
In the summer, hardly ever a new beer comes out because I'm so busy brewing just to keep up with what's going on. So a lot of my new fun stuff will come out, I'll brew it in the fall, and then winter will be a good test for it to see if it's something we want to have for next summer. So usually it's kind of a weird long cycle of a year before people get to see the beer.
And do you have a favorite out of the ones that you made? Is there one that really stands out to you?
That's like asking me who my favorite child is.
I love getting that. We always get that answer.
Yeah.
We're really digging for that, yeah.
In the summer, we do a cucumber lime saison called Flooded Tent. That's probably my all-time favorite. But this year, the raspberry wheat, I drank just a boatload of that. In the fall, I drink a ton of our Scotch ale just because it's good fall beer. In the winter, it bounces all over the place. It's, sometimes I'm getting a stout mood. Sometimes I just drink a ton of the lager because, it's just simple.
Yeah, what do you say we check out some of the brewing tanks you got going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we got a 7-barrel brew house. It's made by Alpha Brewing Operations out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Slick little system. It's actually the biggest system that we could fit into this space.
This is a tight space.
Yeah, so our brewery is it's a retrofit. We didn't want to take down, until we did the expansion, we didn't want to take down too many walls. It was we talked about moving this wall and doing this stuff, but we were a brand new brewery. We signed a lease on someone else's building. We were like, how crazy do we want to get? And we already spent like a boatload of money making the outside pretty. I wasn't about to start moving walls. So it was like, all right, what's the biggest system we can fit into here? And we figured out 7 barrels was the biggest system we could fit. I'm like the only person of our entire staff that can stand up here upright. Everybody else is like, oh, this ceiling's up low. Our grain room is actually above us. So the mill's up in the attic.
Climbing up here to get up there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I gotta run back and forth when I'm mashing in. So I run down, run up, start pouring bags in, run back down, make sure everything's pouring in good. Run back up, pour the next bag in. And then we have 6 7-barrel fermenters up here, and then 1 15-barrel fermenter. And the 15's always filled with Go Fluff Yourself, because we just
Constantly got out of that going.
as you can see today, with it not being on tap, I actually sell it faster than I can make it.
Wow.
Part of the expansion was that we put in 2 30-barrel tanks. So I'll quad brew into them, and one of them will always have fluff in it. So fingers crossed, I might actually be able to brew enough fluff to keep it on tap 365 days a year.
So this is the new system here. So well, like, what is Bub Lake? Is it just putting names on these?
Yeah, so the federal government wants us to be able to determine what tank has what liquid in it, so you have to name the tanks. So we started with all the tanks upstairs. We actually named them First Lake through 8th Lake, because the Fulton Chain of Lakes is 8 lakes long, and it's First Lake through 8th Lake. So we're like, oh, if we need to determine what's in what tank, we have to have a name for the tanks. We're like, we're the Fulton Chain Craft Brewery, let's do 1st through 8th. Then when we started to do the expansion, we were like, all right, well, we have to name all the tanks down here too, so we can determine what beer's in what tank in case someone ever shows up to check, or just for our records too. Yeah. But we were like, well, let's pick all the lakes that are nearby that people might know. So Bub Lake is actually the lake that we were canoeing on when we founded the company. Wow. We went on a camping trip at Racket. Every time we're at Racket, we try to do a new hike of some sorts. So we went on a hike to Bub and Sis Lake. We get to Bub Lake, and I'm standing there, we're looking, we're like, oh, cool view. And I look over to the right, and there's a canoe sitting there. And I'm like, sweet, a canoe. And I run over and I flip the canoe over, and I'm like, this thing's got paddles in it. So I'm pushing the canoe out in the water, and Rich is like, all right, I guess we're getting on that thing.
It's happening.
So we canoe out into Bub Lake, and we start talking about the business, and he's like, all right, he's like, well, so like, what do you think we should do? Like, you know, we talked about Old Forge, like all this stuff, and I was like, man, you know, just like a cool little microbrewery would be awesome, and just Adirondack related beers, all this stuff. So we paddled around for like 1 or 2 hours and just talked about this stuff. Canoed right back to where we found the canoe, put it back in the woods, flipped it over, left. Like 3 days later, Rich had a business plan written up, and I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this.
So that explains the logo.
Yep. So the upside down canoe in the logo is a representation of the canoe that we found. We actually nicknamed it the Adventure Canoe because we were paddling around, may or may not have been drunk, and we're just paddling going, Adventure Canoe, Adventure Canoe. And so we actually named our session IPA Adventure Canoe also in representation of that canoe. But yeah, so we were like, all right, well, we want to name all these tanks down here in relation to lakes around here. So the 2 big tanks are going to be Racket Lake and Stillwater. Racket Lake because that's where we always camped when we were kids. Stillwater is just the next biggest lake that's kind of close to here. Rondax is just up the road from here. We got Blue Mountain Lake, we got Limekiln Lake. So it's just, we wanted to have all these lakes that kind of represent the area. And then actually, we don't have the stickers on yet, but on the back of the tanks, we'll have a picture of the lake with the name, so when people are standing at the tap room, they can look down and see the names of the tanks.
I love it here. I mean, we're here on a business meeting. I mean, what better place to come in and meet for business and have a drink? But I love the feel, I love the vibe. The food is really good. And it's a nice place to come and chill and hang out.
Yeah, the new expansion looks great.
Yes.
I know it was a lot smaller before, and they expanded with the food now, and it's a really great addition to it.
Yeah.
And we had the loaded fries, and they were so good. It was just a nice addition to it, and just a little bit of a beer and drink, quick check.
Yes. It's amazing what they did with the space.
So we got blackened mahi tacos. And then we got a chicken sandwich with poblano peppers, a cheeseburger with prosciutto, and then a Cuban. So yeah, when we took over this space, we convinced our buddy Ricky. He's a phenomenal chef. He worked for a place called Five Corners in town. I think it was probably 3 years ago when he stopped working there. Started bartending, got really sick of bartending, and we were like, hey, we're taking over this side of the building. There's a full-blown kitchen in here. I was like, you need to show up and just sublet the kitchen from us, cook all this amazing food, you keep all the profits from the kitchen and just serve it to us, and it's this perfect little marriage.
Cuban?
Cuban. Wow. I love that taste.
We have a friend that is obsessed with pickles. Absolutely loves pickles. I hate it.
Is there pickles on this?
I will crap
There
on
are.
pickles.
I'm not a pickle guy.
The pickle
This is
in here?
awesome.
With the mustard, incredible. It is very rare you will get me to eat a pickle and come back for a second bite.
Yeah.
I'm going in right now. This is really freaking good.
I don't eat pickles.
No.
I never do. Wow.
Wow.
That worked so well.
Yep.
I'm grabbing this chicken here. That's a hell of a piece of chicken. Even for a slider, you're
Doesn't
getting.
mess around.
You might just need one slider. I mean, I'm gonna get everything, but you might just need one slider when you're going for chicken. That's really good. And that chicken, even the crust on the outside of the chicken here, you can tell it's real quality, the homemade feel you're getting on that chicken.
I mean, there's just a little kick that sits on your tongue, but the flavor of the chicken too, so juicy.
Burger looks really good. You're getting real good chunks of meat on this. You're not getting, for a slider too, sometimes you worry about sliders and they're gonna be, you just get a little bit, no, you're getting a real thick slider burger here. You don't get that often.
Get on up in here. See the onion strands coming off of it. I like that.
This burger is cooked perfectly. And the outside of it, I love the flavor of that.
Yep. Got just a little bit of pink. So I like it.
Compared to this taco here. Homemade tortillas too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're getting a hell of a taco here too. Wow.
It's a corn tortilla, right?
Yep.
So even this is gluten-free option as well for people who are looking for that. Like there's someone everyone can enjoy.
This is a great brewery. We come up here to camp all the time, and this is a constant hit.
It's an excellent beer, nice atmosphere, good place to be, and sit and have a beer on vacation, especially right now. Feels great.
So we finished up our food and Justin went to grab the beers. It's time for us to pour four.
What do we got for you first?
All right, so first beer we got is Bearded Lager. We needed just a nice people's beer. Like I said, with being such a tourist town, we had a ton of people that are new coming into the business. And the first few years, we were just like trying to fit people into beers, which is great. We want to expand craft beer. We want people to try new stuff, but at the same time, I really want them to hang out. And what usually ends up happening is they have one good beer that kind of fits their drinking habits. And then they're like, all right, well, let me get a little sample of this because I read the menu for a few minutes, or let me try a little bit of that. And then we get them to expand into a whole new, realm of beers. So this is kind of just like let's get you in a seat, let's get you into a good beer. Nice, simple, no crazy flavors, just a good, clean lager.
Very crisp, very refreshing. This is one that I think campers, kayakers, boaters, snowmobilers, anyone who comes through this town can enjoy without any sort of problem.
And I feel like it does have some flavor to it. I mean, it's not your normal flavor you're getting from a lager. You're getting from a standard lager.
Yep.
You're gonna get the craft beer taste here, and I mean, this is just great. I mean, this is more easy drinking. You can probably go through a couple of these, and before you realize it.
Yeah, exactly. It's 4.5%. Yep. So it's like, and it's one of my favorite beers to drink too, because it's like I spend all day on the brew house. I'm hot, I'm tired, and I'm like, well, do I really want to put down an 8% beer? Or do I really want to do something with a ton of flavor? Like, no, I just want to sit down and drink just a cool, crisp beer. All right, next beer we got Permanently Visiting. It's our house Saison. So just nice, simple Saison, nothing too crazy. Got a little rye in it. Not many people do the Belgian style. I mean, I know you guys just hung out with Omegang, and they're all about Belgian, but like, aside from them, you go to a brewery and it's like you just don't find these a lot, but it's just a good, fun flavor. So I love Saisons, and I was like, we need to have one here for the people, and people love it. It's just it's the next step up with flavor,
Saisons feel like it's more like the brewer's personal interest. If you're big into them, you're going to see them a lot more, whereas you don't get them everywhere, but I don't know why. I feel like it is a really good, I can almost see sitting on a porch in a rocking chair, just kind of chilling, going back and forth, having a few of these, especially up here. If you are lucky enough to be on the lake, like just kind of sitting there, taking it all in. This would be a great beer to have alongside you for that.
Yeah, it's relaxing.
Yeah.
It feels like it starts off a little sweetness at the beginning, but as you get into it, it ends with that, like I said, that rye flavor. Yeah, I love this. This is great. Yep. I think the name is kind of how I feel about Old Forge. I wanna permanently live here.
Yep. So it's funny that you bring that up. This beer used to be called Just Visiting, and it was just gonna be like a fall saison. It got so popular that we put it on the menu permanently, so we called it Permanently Visiting. But you hit it on the head. Like everyone's like, that's Old Forge to us. Like we want to live up here. So we got Drink Your Wheaties. It's raspberry wheat.
What is it?
Drink Your Wheaties.
Drink Your Wheaties.
Just nice, simple wheat beer with raspberries. Wanted something fun for the summer, and so I was like, let's smash a bunch of raspberries into a wheat beer. I mean, I know a lot of places do it, but why not us? And like I said, it's just the perfect summer beer.
Super smooth.
Yeah,
Goes
6%.
right down. Really?
So, yep.
That's a shocking 6%.
Yeah, so it'll get you there.
Yeah.
You have a couple of these, you can drink these down real quick, and then all of a sudden it gets a little dangerous after 3 or 4.
It's so easy to drink that you get in trouble.
For a summer beer, it's summertime. I mean, as this episode comes out, it'll be more fall time. Still, it's just like this warm weather that you're having this. Low carbonation too. I like that. It's still there, but it's low carbonation. That makes it easier to drink too. I can probably down this really quickly. Yeah, this is great. This is really good.
All right, so this is the last can of Go Fluff Yourself until, I don't know, a couple days. This batch ran out before the next one was ready, so it's peanut butter fluffernutter ale. It's the #1 seller. First, I was like, no way, we're not gonna make this beer. I was like, first off, we're not gonna smash peanut butter vanilla into a beer and then call it Go Fluff Yourself. I was like, that just seems so against what we're trying to do here as like this Adirondack Brewery. Like everything is like, just Adirondack chairs and relaxing and having a good time. And then like we told one of our friends about the joke. We're like, oh yeah, we came with this idea for like Go Fluff Yourself, peanut butter fluff beer. And they're like, you gotta brew it. And I was like, all right. I was like, well, I guess I'll give it a shot. Yeah. Brewed the first batch, and it sold like that. And I was like, all right. I was like, oh, maybe it was a fluke. Like maybe people just thought it was a funny name. Like we'll give it another shot. Like next batch, like sold like that, and we're like, all right, we should probably brew this more often. Yeah. Now, like if we run out of it, people get mad. They're like, I drove all the way here for that beer, and I'm like, sorry.
This is so good. Wow. This is so good. And I can't wait for this to be canned because I'm going to be picking this up myself. And you get that peanut butter and you get that fluff that it is so good that it is, you wouldn't expect it. You wouldn't expect it at all. If someone's going to say fluff nutter and you're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to see how this goes. I'm like, no, this is straight up beer. You're getting that flavor at the end, that hint at the end. I love it. I love this so much.
Yeah, and most new customers, like they read the description and they're like, not a chance that I would like that beer. Like, just not a chance. And we're like, here, try a little sample. It's our #1 seller. We sell this 5-to-1 to every other beer. And they drink it and they're like, yeah, I was wrong.
It's taking me back to like 3rd, 4th grade where you got the fluffernutter sandwich, bringing that to school, and all the other kids are jealous. Every other brewery should be jealous of this beer.
We put your childhood in a glass and we're getting you drunk.
Yeah. It's a win-win.
There's so many different beers out there. I mean, it's insane, the market now. Like, the fact that you can get almost anything in a beer. For what I've had, I don't know about you, you've had a lot of different beer. I've never had a beer like this.
Anything.
I've never had a beer like this. And it's, like I said, this is incredible. And I just know, like, once this goes to market, when you got cans of it selling,
it's a game changer.
This is going to be insane. I feel like this has been the most unique taste of beers that I've had on the trip that we've gone on here to all these different breweries. You're getting a lot of a much different flavor that you're normally getting at different breweries, and I think that just makes it itself that Fulton Chain is Fulton Chain. It's not just a brewery in Old Forge. It is Fulton Chain Craft Brewery, and you
You have to come here. It is a must-stop place, and again, we can't thank you enough for having us. This has been amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
How does a place contact you guys to get if there's a bar or restaurant that wants to put Fulton Chain on their taps? Who are they getting a hold of?
Rich does our outside sales, but it's as simple as just calling here or emailing us, and we'll take care of you. It's pretty easy because it's being a small man operation. You know, we talk every day, so it's like someone calls, it's like, oh hey, here's a new account. Let's set this up.
Well, that wraps it up for us here at Fulton Chain Craft Brewery. This has been an amazing day, and I'm ready to go back to vacation, but vacation's going to continue on here, and it's actually going to continue for you guys. We are doing an Oktoberfest special where we're featuring one of the October beers currently on tap here at Fulton Chain Craft Brewery. Kind of a spooky story, so I can't wait for you guys to see this one.
Yeah, I really hope you're excited for this one. This spot in particular is going to be very important. So if you don't want to miss it, subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere you can find us so you can see where our journey takes us next on What's on Tap.
Cheers.
That's the better one.
That's good.